Hey everybody, it's Miss Berry. I'm just coming back and finishing up the lecture video for section 1.6. So I'm just going to flip the camera around and we will finish up with just a couple of quick word problems. All right, so the topic here says solving linear equations in one variable. It says one common task in applied math is to solve a given equation and two or more variables for one of the variables. Solving for a variable means just transform the equation into some equivalent equation in which the specified variable is isolated by itself on one side of the equation. So it says solve the formula for the indicated variable. You have a couple of these on your homework, and I just chose this one because I felt like it was the more difficult out of all of the problems. So we have v squared equals v sub 0 squared plus 2ax, and it says to solve for a. So basically get a by itself. Okay, so we have v squared equals v sub 0 squared plus 2ax. All right, so we're trying to get a by itself, so we should start by just subtracting this v sub 0 squared, move it over to the left-hand side. Excuse me. All right, so over here, those cancel. All right, and now we're almost done, and we're trying to get a by itself. So just divide by 2 and x. That's the numbers or the quantities that are being multiplied by a. So get rid of those. So the 2 cancels, the x cancels, and now a is by itself. So we have a is equal to v squared minus v sub 0 squared, all divided by 2x. Now, I don't see anything about simplifying here. I was just looking at this and thinking you could factor this. This is a difference of squares. You could factor the top into v minus v sub 0 times v plus v sub 0 all over 2x. This is a difference of squares, but they don't say anything about simplify, so I think this should be fine. All right, so this would be like if they asked you to simplify. So this is the simplified form. All right, we have one more true application of linear equations problem that I wanted to go over with you guys. It says two brothers, Brian and Robert, each inherit $41,000. Brian invests his inheritance in a savings account with an annual return of 2%. That means he's going to make 2% off of the money that he deposits in his savings account. It says while Robert invests his inheritance in a CD that pays 5.8% annually. How much more money than Brian does Robert have after 1 year? All right, so we have Brian and Robert. This one is actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. All right, so Brian has $41,000 and Robert also has $41,000. Brian is investing his money in a savings account and he's making 2% interest, or he's making a 2% return. And Robert invested in a CD, which is shorthand for a certificate of deposit. You may have heard like your grandparents talk about these. These are very safe investments that you can get at your bank. So Robert obviously is making more money than Brian. So we're trying to figure out how much more money does Robert have after a year. All right, so to find out how much money Brian's going to make, we're just going to find out what is 2% of 41,000. So to do that, we need to take 2% and change it into its decimal form. Right now it's a percentage. So to change a percentage to a decimal, you just take the decimal place, which is right after the whole number, move it 2 places to the left. So 2% as a decimal is 0.02. So multiply that times 0.02. Now let's get our calculator. Clear all that out. 41,000. Well, I had too many zeros in there. Let me try that again. 41,000 times 0.02. So Brian is going to make $820 per year off of his savings account. That's a pretty high interest for a savings account. Normally they're not. The savings account interest isn't that high. All right. So Robert, on the other hand, is making 5.8%. So let's transform that into its, or convert it, I should say. Let's convert it into decimal form. So we move it 2 places to the left. So we're multiplying by 0.058. Make sure you get all those decimal points in there. 41,000 times 0.058. So Robert is making $2,378. The question asks, how much more money than Brian does Robert have after 1 year? All right, so we're going to just erase the bottom part of this. Whoops, erase the whole thing. All right, so we're going to take the amount of money that Robert made, subtract off the amount that Brian made. That's going to tell us how much extra Robert made after a year. 2378 minus 820. So Robert made $1,558 more than Brian did. All right, pretty easy. All right, so that is everything for section 1.6. Excuse me, if you have any questions, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys soon.